Now we all know why Sarah was watching that animal video at the end of part 2, ripping the throat out. Hey, everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and welcome to the Twin Peaks episode or part 14 Instant Reaction. This episode is titled We Are Like the Dreamer. It was written by Mark Frost and David Lynch, and of course directed by David Lynch. My guest today is Hal. How's it going?
Cameron, always good to see you on Sunday nights following a new episode. So,
yeah, it's getting earlier and earlier. One of these days, it's going to be airing at 3 in the afternoon.
Yes. What a great episode, man. Even though Chantel wasn't there, I was sitting on the edge of my seat, riveted, eating my Cheetos, watching this episode. And the startling developments.
I have to just say, do you realize how hard it was for me to hold in everything this week?
I do. I commend you for no spoilers.
All right, a couple things before we start. One, after an episode like we had tonight, God, I miss our live streams. I miss having 500 people in the chat and us talking about with everybody back and forth. So, I don't know when they're going to come back. Hopefully soon. I don't know when, though. But in the meantime, please give these videos a like, share them, but subscribe to this channel. It's over about 2,500 views right now. I'm trying to get to 3,000. Obviously, with the live chat, we probably would have already been over 3,000, but it is what it is. So please help me get there as quick as possible. If you're watching this video, and I know a lot of you guys watch the instant reaction that are not subscribed to this channel, just, subscribe and check out the, Obnoxious Anonymous main channel for a while and see what you think. It'd be great to have you here.
Yeah, we'd love to be live. I know you absolutely would, but it just makes it so much more fun with the community all gathered together so we can all do this as a group.
And I got contacted the other day by some people who said that they love our videos, Hal, with everybody that, Eric and Mandy and everybody else who contributes to these videos, because they feel like they're watching Twin Peaks with family. And I have to say, you guys are, part of this wonderful extended family that I have. I talk with you more, more than I do some other people in my life that I've known my entire life.
I feel the same way, man. I look forward to it every week. So I'm into it.
Next topic.
By the way, wait a minute. Back to the Cheetos for a second. Let me just show you, Cameron. This is a Cheeto, and this is a chip. Okay, just to clarify.
I feel like I'm in biology class or something. All right. The next thing is, you said on the last video yesterday, only yesterday,
right,
that you were not gonna do the gotta light shtick until that guy came back. Well, guess what? He came back. So you know what that means.
Gotta light.
All right, time to retire that again.
Yes, indeed.
Next is, after you watch tonight's episode, you have to stop and think: is Twin Peaks season 1 and season 2, which we all love, and now with this new series, I am thinking that Twin Peaks is it is going for the mantle of the greatest TV series in the history of the medium.
Agreed.
Don't you think?
Agreed. I had that feeling throughout this entire episode where I'm just going, man, they're in the woods again. It's just like, oh, it's all coalescing in such a beautiful way, man.
Right. My wife watched it tonight, and she said her instant reaction was, "How many more do we have?" And I said 4, and she goes, "It's all coming together. I feel it. It's all coming together." And I was like, it kind of is. And it's funny how just a couple episodes ago, people are complaining that we're just meandering and things aren't pulling together, and yet, all it takes is 1 hour, and we're back on track.
Yeah. And we have 4 or maybe more, because you alluded the other day that the last 2 might be longer than 2 hours.
However, I did check Showtime's schedule, and it is a 2-hour block. So no, it's not going to be.
That's disappointing, but oh well, we'll take what we get.
Yeah, but before we get into any details, overall, what did you think of tonight's episode?
Fantastic. It was, I mean, through the whole thing, I was just going, it was a jaw dropper, I mean, it was all those elements that we wanted, all that spooky stuff in the woods and just the creepy stuff. And Andy, who would have thought Andy would factor in so heavily? And we get the fireman, confirmed as instead of the question marks in the credits, and in memory of David Bowie. And I know we're going to get to all this, but yeah, there was so much good stuff.
I have a feeling we're going to have more jaw-dropping moments in the next 4 parts, right?
Yeah.
This felt like the jaw-dropping moments on the way to the even bigger jaw-dropping moments.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So let's get into some of these details. Beginning in Buckhorn, South Dakota, Gordon Cole calls Lucy. Right from that moment, it's like, this is going to be an amazing episode of Twin Peaks. Don't you think? Like right from the start.
Right from the start, when they did the black and white Rancho Rosa, I'm going, black and white again. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. I forgot to write down what color it was tonight.
Yeah.
But, we get this charming moment with Cole and Lucy. It's funny how Lucy remembers Gordon Cole. It's like, It almost seems like yesterday. Even it's been over 25 years.
Well, he does have a distinctive voice and volume to that voice.
That's true. And she did kind of patch him in season 1. So she's used to hearing his voice over the phone.
Yeah. And I liked his, like, you're still there after all these years.
So Cole gets in touch with Frank Truman. And of course, there's some little misunderstanding about where's Harry. I thought that was very sweet. And again, we're getting, the updates about Harry. They said that he's in hospital care.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think the probability is that he is in some sort of psych ward?
I think it's more of a, like stage 4 cancer or something is my impression.
And that's what I think too, but they just keep dancing around it.
Mm-hmm.
That it's hard to know what is the sickness he has,
Yeah, but maybe he has had some sort of psychological trauma. You never know with the strange goings on around Twin Peaks.
Right. Now, Frank Truman is a little kind of just forthright with Gordon Cole about 2 Coopers. Like, it was, I don't know what this means. 2 Coopers. I was under the impression that Hawk had kind of walked him through the process a little bit of what they were talking about in terms of like the diary entries or the map, that maybe he could clue in Cole to a little bit more than just 2. You know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like he didn't quite believe what he was saying, and it just came across really kind of matter of fact, as opposed to, you're not going to believe this, but
But there was always that, even with Harry, there was always that, that doubt, Harry would always like, Coop, let's see, is this one of your crazy dreams again and stuff? There was always that element of doubt. Even it's like, he couldn't believe his eyes, even though he'd seen these things. There's still that part of your brain that can't process it. And I think Frank maybe has the same issue, because when they went to the location in the woods, he's still going, let's hope this isn't some crazy thing. So maybe that's just an element of the Trumans. They have that doubt.
That's an excellent point. Because I love that line in, what is it, episode 15 of the original series, where Harry's like, listen, Cooper, I backed you up every step of the way.
Right.
But I've had enough of the dreams, the dwarf, the giant, all the mumbo jumbo. Now we got hard evidence on Ben Horn.
Yes.
My job to lock him up.
Exactly.
And I love how Cooper just it says right there, you're right, Harry. Sometimes an outsider can forget. This is your woods, and I love it. Love it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's an excellent point. But Cole, he's just like, they're like Laura Palmer's diaries, 2 Coopers, and he's just like, okay, thanks, Frank.
Yeah, can't talk about it, but thanks for the info.
So then we go to Albert and Tammy, and Albert's telling her about the first Blue Rose case. Now, what's interesting about this is there's been a lot of speculation online that the girl with the frog moth was probably going to be the first Blue Rose case.
Yes.
And as far as we know, I mean, she could still be.
Right, because we don't know what her name was, so we don't know if that matches.
Right. But they talk about this woman, I can't remember her name off, but she gets shot, and then she says, "I'm like the Blue Rose," and it turns out she shot herself.
Well, there was 2 people in the room, and then she disappeared, and then the other person in the room was still her.
Right. But I don't did they say that when they first walked in, did they say the first person was her?
They didn't say there was like 2 identical people. It was almost like they I don't know. I'd have to rewatch to get those specific details, but it seemed to me they were 2 separate people, and then she said what she said and disappeared, and then the other person was still her.
They say the 2 officers that came in to investigate that were Gordon Cole and Philip Jeffries.
Yes.
So that's not just, Cooper, meet the long lost Philip Jeffries. You may have heard of him from the Academy. I mean, this is like, well, Philip Jeffries and Gordon Cole go all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
It is. It is.
Because you never get the feeling that Gordon Cole and Philip Jeffries were old partners when he comes walking in that white suit.
Yeah. It was so beautiful the way they incorporated that too.
Yeah. So then we get this like crazy window washer shows.
That was great. Driving Gordon's hearing aid crazy.
I know I had to turn down the volume on the TV because it was just so piercing. They're really playing up his hearing, in terms of when things get really loud.
Yeah.
Again, I just want to point out that the FBI have Apple computers and the sheriff's department all have Dells. So obviously,
dude, you're getting a Dell.
So we all know who's where's the budget is. So Diane comes in, and she's typical Diane attitude, and they ask her about Major Briggs. She says that yes, the Cooper that she knows, whatever, did mention him.
Well, after she said "F you."
Right. Well, I'm now cutting out those moments because that's just a given.
Right.
But they bring up the wedding ring that they found in Major Briggs' stomach, and it's the obviously the
Dougie and Janie E.
The Dougie and Janie E. And she says, "My sister is Jane, and we called her, or half sister, and we called her Janie E."
Yes. And her husband's name is Douglas Jones, but everybody calls him Dougie.
So my question to you is this. Is this something that we should accept at face value, that this is a connection that bridges it together? Or do you think Diane, you know what? I'm going to say it is something we should take at face value, because if she was getting tipped off in terms of information about this via text, then Albert would have infiltrated it.
Right.
Because I've had some people email me already saying, do you think they're really, half sister? Do you think Diane's making up that story because she got tipped off? But wouldn't they have found that info already? When, I think Albert would have found that if
somebody would have fed her that stuff, then Albert would have known that it wasn't true.
So how do you feel about Diane and Janie E being half sisters?
Well, it's just another connection that's going to bring all these threads together. It's seemingly
right. No, I like it.
Yeah.
Especially if you know the background of Laura Dern and Naomi Watts, because for years they've been going up to David Lynch's house and pitching him ideas about movies and projects they'd like to do together. So the idea of making them related, well, it makes sense, right?
It does, yeah.
And there's a lot of pictures online during the production of this Twin Peaks of those 2 actresses together, and they've been in other movies together.
Yeah,
I think they were. This is We Don't Live Here Anymore, or something like that. It's I don't know. It's an indie film, but they've acted together before, so it makes sense. And it's cool that they look alike, and also they're the 2, Lynch women.
Why do you think half sister versus full-blooded sister? Do you think that has any implications, or why did they choose that specifically, half sister?
Well,
what would that say about their relationship and their lineage? Would that have anything to do with anything? Because it seems like why not just say sister? Why choose half sister?
I don't know. Maybe they pulled some DNA out of Diane and manufactured Janie E.
Yeah. But then
I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas.
Right.
Because Sonny Jim is not normal. Okay, let's just be honest. He didn't talk for like 3 hours, and then when he did talk, it was about brushing your teeth, like the end of part 2 or season 2.
And he seems to have some sort of connection with his dad or Dougie, that he seems to be somewhat all-knowing, like everything, like it doesn't seem abnormal to Sonny Jim, at all.
Right. When he's laughing in the kitchen at the breakfast, he seems like he's wise beyond his years.
Exactly. Yeah, there's something to that. Yeah. That could be just the innocence of a child, the purity of that, or something else.
I know, but he didn't talk for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
maybe that's part of his wisdom. He's kind of Zen, Sonny, the Zen of being Sonny Jim.
Hey, I think I saw a quote a few weeks ago that said, when you talk, you're only repeating things but when you listen, you learn all new things.
And that's so Peaksian.
And that's so true.
Yeah, it is.
So why are we talking about this episode, Hal? If we're just saying things everybody knows, I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah. It was a great episode. Good night, everybody. Say no more.
It'll be the fastest upload ever. Okay, so Gordon Cole calls the Las Vegas FBI and tells them to, look after Dougie and Janie.
Right. They got to look up the Joneses. There's,
Okay, there's 23 of them, which I don't know if you know this or not, but 23 is considered one of the most cursed numbers.
Ah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah. That's what we do at the FBI.
Okay. Let's discuss that for a second. Wilson, how many times do I have to tell you, this is what we do in the FBI. He screams it so loud. Misstep or not misstep?
I liked it. It's just, the authority figure.
I guess. There just was no transition, even, you know what I mean? It just I felt like Gordon Cole with the window washer. I was like, wow, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to know if it's a misstep or not.
If you've ever had a lousy boss, though, that might ring more true.
I guess, but it went from 0 to 60. I thought I was watching Fast and the Furious or something.
Yeah.
All right, so.
But that's a Lynchian thing. It's all, things are always exaggerated. Like the window washer, everything's exaggerated.
True. That was surprising. I didn't expect that to happen in that little office,
Yeah.
An outburst like that.
Imagine what the other guy feels. He has to deal with that every day, probably.
Yeah. he would have been like the bellhop in that Missing Pieces scene. I think I pooped my pants or something.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about one of the biggest Lynchian moments of this whole episode, and that is, I had another Monica Bellucci dream. What the?
Who's Monica Bellucci? That was lost on me because I saw in the credits she plays herself. Who is Monica Bellucci?
Really?
She's
the star of Irreversible. She was in The Passion of the Christ. She's one of them. She was in the Matrix sequels. I mean, she's
okay.
Anyway, she's a big actress. At least in film circles.
I mean, I knew she was somebody famous because she was just playing herself, but I didn't know who she was.
But it's so funny because I saw posts from Joe online saying I think Monica Bellucci is probably going to be playing Judy, and I was thinking to myself, oh, you keep thinking that. She's just going to show up as Monica Bellucci.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we know why they brought the whole production to Paris.
Right.
Basically, so David Lynch could go get a coffee.
With Monica Bellucci.
Exactly. So anyway, they sit down and in this dream, they have coffee. She says the episode title, "We Are Like the Dreamer." We live inside the dream, and all of a sudden, we get the flashback to Fire Walk with Me with the Philip Jeffries scene. And it looked gorgeous in black and white. Everything, this whole section, gorgeous in black and white.
Yeah.
I loved the seeing Cooper staying next to that window with like the half face.
Yeah, I didn't see his full face. Yeah.
Right. And that obviously plays into the whole Cooper doppelganger thing. You know, who is it there? You know,
right.
who do you think?
We don't see his dark eyes, so we don't know which one it was there.
Well, not just that, but just the idea of like, you know, it's half of him, and you know, and with David Bowie saying, you know, who do you think that is there?
And we all knew that was, you know, we all knew that was some sort of like, you know, because Fire Walk with Me is both a prequel and a sequel, you know, and so that line always stuck out that, you know, Bowie was seeing the doppelganger possibly, or knew that there was two Coops in that scene. Because why would he say that? Who do you think that is there? And sure enough, it came back into play perfectly.
I think the thing that surprises people about like that whole sequence of Fire Walk with Me is because it's like 2 minutes long and then it's gone and it's never talked about again. Mm-hmm. And that's why when I was talking to you guys the other day about Fire Walk with Me is now becoming a very well liked film and well regarded film, when back in the day, even Twin Peaks fans, for the most part, like turned their back on it. Mm-hmm. Not everybody, but quite a few.
Not me. I loved it right in the theatrical release. I'm proud to say. I did love it. I went with a group of friends, and me and one other guy. Everybody was going, "That sucked. Let's go get a beer." You know, that was garbage. You know, and me and my friend are like a couple steps behind, hanging back, and we looked at each other and go, "I liked it." And he goes, "Me too." But we were like scared to say it because everybody was like hating on it.
No, and again, I've said it a million times, say it again. I do love that film. I have some issues with it, but overall, I think it's a great film. I don't consider it Lynch's greatest movie, but I do consider it a great film. I would tweak a few things here and there, but that's just me.
But like we were talking about in the Thought of the Day video, it really works well now in the face of this new season as a bridge between the old series and the new.
And that's basically what I was getting at, is that this new series, if anything, has redeemed Fire Walk with Me. Like if you didn't like Fire Walk with Me, it now puts it in a nicer context. Yeah. So now that David Bowie scene isn't some 2-minute isolated throwaway. Why did Lynch even incorporate this into the film? Has nothing to do with anything. But now with this new series, you can go back and be like, I like that, right? But when Fire Walk with Me was the definitive final word in Twin Peaks, yeah, it felt like a mistake to start throwing in all these new elements, Blue Rose, Philip Jeffries, and all this stuff, when there wasn't going to be any follow through with it. Now
but they had intended to have follow-up movies, didn't they? Didn't they intend to do 3 movies originally? I mean,
right, but that wasn't that.
Sorry, my Cheetos. My Cheetos, man.
No, but that wasn't disclosed until much later. They didn't say while they were making the film, this is one of 3 that we're planning on doing. It was like after like 95, 96, it was revealed around that time that, we're thinking about doing more.
But in their mind, writing it at the time, they probably threw things in there thinking it would be a franchise, you know. And not knowing it would bomb to the max, you know.
Yeah, but when you make a film, you need to make it thinking that you're not going to make another one. It's not like today where you start already a planned trilogy. Yeah. Back in 92, they weren't thinking that far in advance. You made one film, it did well, maybe you got a sequel. Yeah. But anyway, they bring in all these elements, they don't pan out. It turns off a lot of people at the time. Yeah. But this new series will make people go back to Fire Walk with Me, and now it's going to play much more smoother for people. And
especially if you see that scene, in its unexpurgated version with on the missing pieces, it's just even better.
Yeah, that entire sequence, my humble opinion, if that had been left in the film by, untouched. Yes. I don't think many people would have had a problem with that scene. Yeah. I think some people have a problem just the fact that it's so truncated,
Yeah, right. Because it takes something that's really abstract and makes it even more so with the fading in and out of the convenience store. But when you see it played out in the missing pieces, it's way more coherent.
I think the part that that flips people out is when David Bowie is like talking in the chair and it keeps going to the snow.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, what got cut out? Obviously, a lot of stuff got cut out. Here it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then we go to, is there anything else you want to say about the dream?
No, it was just, we finally got a Bowie cameo. It wasn't what I was hoping for, but there it was anyway.
Listen. We may still get the Bowie cameo.
That'd be beautiful.
But they have to lay in David Bowie first. Okay. One. Not we, but the internet Twin Peaks community. When I say we, a lot of people thought that Tim Roth was going to maybe play Philip Jeffries or something of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we have established, no, Philip Jeffries is David Bowie.
Right. He will not be recast.
He will not be recast. That's exactly right. So if they do show us another Philip Jeffries, it's either going to be an evolved Philip Jeffries, like if you turn into that box, or it's going to be some form of David Bowie. Mm-hmm. It might be a video message. It might be just, hey, listen, if they recreated Don Davis in outer space, they can recreate David Bowie. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's all I'm saying is that we've now established that Philip Jeffries is David Bowie.
Yes.
So,
and if we don't get any more, at least he got in there, even though it was recycled footage. It's still nice to see him as part of this piece.
Now, I know this episode dropped a week early accidentally in Germany, but not a lot of people saw it. That being said, I know you peruse the internet a lot when it comes to this show. Mm-hmm. Did you, knowing what you know now, do you think someone started tipping off websites? Because I started seeing quite a bit of, is David Bowie going to be in this series? Articles this week.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, why are these articles dropping the week before I knew we were going to get this Fire Walk with Me flashback moment?
That's funny. I wonder if somebody leaked, a Bowie thing because they hadn't really seen Fire Walk with Me, and they thought, this is new.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that these articles didn't drop, a few weeks ago. I mean, it was this week, the week that we're gonna get this Bowie.
That's true. That's true. I did see a couple of those. Yeah.
So anyway, we then go to the Twin Peaks Sheriff Station. Andy, Bobby, Hawk, I love this whole thing with the cheese sandwiches, and I love that little moment because that's so true. Who's got what, Yeah. But the greatest moment, they arrest Chad.
Yeah.
And that came out of nowhere.
Yep.
Now, the thing that surprised me is that Frank Truman says to him, "We've been watching you for months." So I wish they had arrested him earlier because obviously he's been doing all kinds of bad things in this new series.
Yeah.
Meeting Richard Horn at the Roadhouse and, stealing the letter and, that type of thing. So now it explains why Lucy was kind of peeking out the window at him. She's been suspicious, but I find it funny that Frank would bring in Lucy and Andy into this thing, I guess, obviously you can trust them. They're good people, but Andy and Lucy aren't, I don't know. They just,
they may not have completely clued them in. They may just had thrown out there, hey, keep your eye on Chad. Just tell us if he, just watch what he does and report back to us if you see anything weird.
Right. But I love that reveal when they just arrested Chad and took him away. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's okay. Obviously he didn't die, but I'm good that he got arrested. Next thing I need is something really bad to happen to Richard Horn. So hopefully that will happen at some point.
Yes.
But I love the fact that after Chad is arrested, Hawk says to Truman, here's your roast beef and cheese.
Really?
That's great. Just back to business. Great.
Right. Another good day in law enforcement. Good guys win for a second.
Yeah. Finally, some police work is done, right?
Right.
Then we get this amazing aerial shot of the woods. Did you think that was great?
Oh, man. When we were back in the woods, it was just like this is Twin Peaks at the core. This is what we want.
And this part is going to inspire, how many hikes to Jack Rabbit's Palace?
Yeah. That'll be another new location on the Twin Peaks tours in Snoqualmie.
Exactly. I wonder how deep in the woods it is. It can't be that bad, right? Because they have to truck in all their equipment. So,
man, I'd be willing to hike there for sure, no matter how far it is.
Exactly. Maybe we'll find that bubbling cauldron of.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. Did you catch what that was?
No, I mean, I was thinking the burn engine oil, but they didn't make any reference to that.
No, so. I was thinking of. I mean, it's not, but I was thinking about what was in Sam Stanley's tub and the missing pieces.
Right.
Cooper looks down and there's that white liquid down there. Yeah. So we get to the woods and you hear the electricity in the wires.
Yeah, they even show the wires.
That's what I'm
walking there. Yeah.
Right, and so obviously we're in nature, but we're still like amongst society. I mean, there's there was supposedly a station back there a while ago, so it's kind of it's two different worlds colliding basically.
Yeah, it's on the edge of the woods.
Right. Now, what did you think about this team going in? We had Frank, Hawk, Andy, and Bobby. It's a good team coming in.
It reminded me of that great scene where it was, Harry and Coop and Doc Hayward. Remember when they all lined up like the Old West as they were going into the woods? It reminded me of a scene like that.
Right, when they storm into Jacques' cabin. And,
yes, right.
And there's always music in the air.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, they could have redone something like that if it would. I mean, obviously it's a police investigation, so that's what's happening. Mm-hmm. But I wish they had called in the Bookhouse Boys for this.
Yeah,
because I would have loved to have seen Harry Dean Stanton with them in the woods.
Yeah, yeah, and given the signal.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. There you go. Yep.
So we're going through a walk in the woods, which is something that I've always loved about Twin Peaks. When they're just like, I'm just going to go for a walk in the woods, because not a lot of people just randomly do that. Like they're just going to the beach. I'm just going to take a walk in the woods. Mm-hmm. So we have these four guys, and they're making their way to Jackrabbit's palace. The whole like walking up to that place was just great. I mean. The music wasn't as sinister as I thought it might be, but it still created just an astounding like mood to it. Like we were getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah, we're in the woods of Twin Peaks and all that entails.
So they reach there, and apparently once you reach Jackrabbit's palace, they have to go 253 yards and somehow put soil in their pockets. It reminded me of in episode 2 of the original series where they're throwing rocks and Cooper says to Hawk, "Would you mind putting on the kitchen mittens?"
Yeah.
It's like, what? Kitchen mittens holding a bucket of rocks. All right.
It's all part of the alchemy of it all.
Exactly. I like how Frank Truman says, hopefully this isn't one of those tall tales that your father told you. And he's like, I don't think, I don't think you're going to get some mysterious thing in a chair delivered to you, all mysterious, like if it's just a tall tale. But
yeah, it's just a joke.
So they go 253 yards and they discover, is it Nido?
Yeah.
From part 3, the one that was like to Cooper.
Right.
And the wherever he was.
The lady with no eyes.
So what did you think about that?
Well,
that's a surprising development, isn't it?
It was. And who wants to kill her?
Remember, I don't know. But she came out of the smoke, and that was an amazing image, all that smoke in the woods.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she's there and
still chattering away.
Yeah. Well, not really there. Not so much like she is in the jail.
Yeah.
But that is a surprising, twist in the storyline, because I'm assuming that nobody watching this show thought that character would return, and if she did return, would return like this.
Yeah, would come out into our world,
Right.
Yeah, I thought she would always be a denizen of the lodge or wherever that is, or just remain in the spirit world. I never thought she'd manifest in the real world, so it's very interesting.
So as huge fan of this series. I'm really interested in where are they going to take this storyline, because I never expected this to happen in a million years, and now that it is, wow, where the possibilities of where they could take this. I don't know where this is going, and that's I know that's part of the coolness of it, but at the same time, though, where do you take this? and if people want to kill her, I don't think the holding cell at the sheriff's station is going to do the trick, especially since Woodsman, if that is someone that she fears, we know from part 1 of this series that the Woodsman can just manifest in a jail cell.
That's true.
So,
but Andy has the clues. Andy has the information, it seems like.
All right, well, we're getting to that right now. So at 253, at 253 yards away from Jackrabbit's Palace, the vortex opens up again, or another vortex opens up. And this time we find out, I don't know if this is always what happens, but I mean, at least in 2 instances in tonight's episode, this is what happens. A vortex opens up and you are taken to the giant.
Yes. So
my question to you is, when Gordon was looking the vortex, it was taking him to a strange staircase, I don't know where, convenience store, Laura's house, inverse Laura's house, I don't know what it is, with Woodsman there. It didn't look like Gordon Cole was going to be sucked into where the giant is. It looked like he was going to a dark place.
Different vortex, though. Maybe just different vortexes in different locations take you to different locations in that other world.
You're probably right. But they surprise us all here, and they suck Andy into the vortex. Or
that was such a great image too, man. Of all the guys in the woods, it was Andy. And just to see him in that world, that was so fantastic. Perfect.
But it does make me wish Gordon Cole had been in that world, because I would have loved to have seen him and the giant or fireman, whatever, saying, "What's that?" That would have been really
There's something pure about Andy. Gordon is jaded and has lots of knowledge, so maybe they wanted a sort of pure, simple vessel like Andy to impart heavy information, because they knew it wouldn't get distorted. Maybe he'd relay it in a pure way.
And Cooper, in many ways, had sort of an innocent outlook on, things like, Douglas firs, that type of thing.
Childlike curiosity.
Right. Makes me wonder if Sonny Jim wasn't sent back or something with the knowledge.
Yeah.
So Andy's in. Okay, I'm just gonna say this until we are told otherwise, but the White Lodge, I don't know. I mean, people are saying, I don't know. We haven't gotten confirmation, so
not confirmation, but you have to assume at this point, if there's a Black Lodge and we've seen that this has to be the White Lodge. There's only 4 more hours to go. Why would they introduce a whole new realm at this point? I mean, the giant is a benevolent spirit. He's helpful, so that has to imply White Lodge. That's what I'm going with at this point.
So in the original series, we were never told the giant's name.
Right.
He just showed up and was like, "I will tell you 3 things."
And in the credits, he was the giant.
Okay. But he never said his name in the original series. But Cooper referred to him as the giant.
Yeah, and it wasn't question marks in the original credits. It was the giant.
Now there's been question marks since his introduction in part 1.
Yeah.
And there has been a lot of people talking online about they were referring to him as the fireman for weeks now. And I can't remember why that is.
See, I had the same impression. I know I've heard him referred to as the fireman before, but this was supposedly the reveal. So I was questioning, where did I hear that before?
No, I've seen it online.
Yeah.
People have been saying like, oh, because I think they figured out the 7 question marks, and I'm sure someone in the chat will be like, well, this is why. Well, I just, off the top of my head right now, I can't remember, but I have seen in comments for weeks now, fireman.
Did somebody refer to the fireman, and then people said, oh, 7 question marks, fireman? But where was it referred to? I forget.
I don't know, but someone will let us know.
Yeah.
But I've heard that for a while now. So
me too.
But why is he called the fireman? Why do you think?
Is it something to do with Fire Walk with Me? Is it something to do with putting out the flames?
I mean, he's sending Laura
right
there because he's
if there's fire where you are going, maybe the fireman puts out those flames with goodness.
Another good point, Hal. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
So he shows Andy all these visions. I thought this was a stunning moment. There's a lot. Yeah. There was a lot of imagery in there. Obviously, we get Laura with the double angels from Fire Walk with Me. We got the God of Light guy. We got the mother. We got Bob in the Bubble again. We got the awesome shot of the Coopers splitting and being the two Coopers.
Yeah.
That's a great moment. We got the number 6. We with the girl screaming at Laura, announcement that she died at the school. We see her running again. Yes. Only what's really interesting is when she runs, it's black and white, and then it transitions to color, and then almost the rest of the imagery, I believe, is color.
Didn't the telephone pole with the 6 on it cut like 3 times, almost like 666, and didn't that change into color too? Am I wrong?
It very well could have.
I think it did.
You may be right. I don't remember that. I just remember seeing all this imagery being thrown at me, but I thought it was great. And then like there's like he's holding on to this, like, I don't know what it was. My wife's like, "What is that thing?" It looked like the lament configuration, but then there was like smoke coming out of it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's like skylights.
Yeah. It's like here's your vision, through this skylight.
Right. It almost gives you the feeling like this is a vision of what heaven would be like. This is the waiting room. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. And then, what's really cool too. Sorry, I'm reusing that word over and over again.
It was cool, man. The whole episode was cool.
I know, but that part where the Coopers split, right?
Yeah.
It's the only moment of Kyle in this whole episode.
Starring Kyle MacLachlan.
I think they almost had to put that image in there just so they could have that credit.
Yeah.
But so this is technically.
Well, no, wait. He was in Gordon's flashback.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, but that's not really. I mean, it's just half his face, but
right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, this is really like. Is this really? I mean, even the episode when he's playing catch with Sonny Jim, he was like moving.
Yeah.
Right. So this is really like the first full episode where he's not even part of the storyline.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Well, and he was in the Bowie flashback too. So.
Yeah. But that's all recycle footage.
Still. Starring Kyle MacLachlan.
You know what I was hoping. Obviously they couldn't do it because of time and that wasn't what they were going for. But I wish they had kind of put in a lot of that extra material from the missing pieces into that sequence. That would have been super awesome. Like if we had gotten the extended above the convenience store scene, like in that dream, all in black and white. Woo!
Or if he would have said that line again about we live inside a dream.
Right.
They should have put that in there.
Another great point, Hal. All right, so when we go back to the woods, we have all this imagery of the sheriff and Bobby and Hawk kind of like walking around, right? And then they're kind of like it's like dissolving as they're showing that they're walking around, moving around.
It's almost like a time displacement is now coming back together. Now we're back in real time,
Right. However, one thing that I was thinking of is, some people will say, well, time travel isn't going around the sun or taking your DeLorean. It's the idea that time is all around you. And like, for instance, like this room I'm in right now. Well, if I was in this room yesterday, I'm still in this room from yesterday. You just have to find the layer to step through.
That's right. Yeah. Right? Do you read comic books at all? Do you ever read Grant Morrison's The Invisibles comic?
Mm-mm.
It goes into that stuff too, where it's like your whole life, if you could actually see it from outside of time, you would see it be like a long caterpillar of, you could trace back to where you were embryonic, and that all trails behind you, and it all is connected with everybody else. We just can't see that because we only live in this kind of sliver of time.
Right. So what I'm suggesting is that it could just be just a nice little image of them patiently waiting for whatever, they don't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden, like you said, it all comes together.
Mm-hmm.
Or I was thinking it's alternate timelines happening, and then finally we're back to the timeline we're in. Like,
to go back to the previous part with the Big Ed in the gas station. Remember on the thought of the day, we were going, did you see that? I couldn't see it. I rewatched tonight the episode, before tonight's new episode, and I saw it. It is there. It absolutely is there. Yeah, I got up close to the TV. Somebody said, look right above the white barrel. You can see it. It's a glitch, and he puts the coffee cup down while he's stationary. You can totally see it. It is there.
That is scary.
Yeah.
You know what else is scary is I found that video of the speech from the woodsman, and it times out with the Sarah Palmer watching the boxing match.
Yeah, the loop is the exact same length. Yeah, I saw that where they put them side by side.
So I just want to say this again. There are people out there in this world that have way too much time on their hands.
I'm glad they do.
That being said, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One, I myself don't have the time to do all of this, but two, I wouldn't have even thought to do that.
Right. And it deepens the experience. I love that knowledge as we watched. I'd rather know that as we go along rather than find it out after the fact. It's more fun to have that knowledge as the episodes unfold.
But what scares me, Hal, is what are we going to find out 5 months from now?
You're right.
This is what people are finding out now.
Yeah.
What are we going to find out 5 months from now? I don't know.
What other Easter eggs have they laid in there that we've yet to discover?
Seriously, though, it's just this show to me just is the more you think about it, the more you dream about it, the more you take it in, the richer the reward is. If you're holding this series at bay, right? This seems like one of those series that you will get more out of it if you put more into it.
I actually had a Twin Peaks dream about a week ago, and I was so happy for that because I'm like, wow, I actually had a Twin Peaks dream where there was like all these animated segments going on, and it just I don't remember all the details now, but I just woke up going, wow, I just had a Twin Peaks dream. This is perfect.
Now, if I have a Twin Peaks dream, I hope Monica Bellucci is in it.
Right.
Okay, so who knows if it was just like a nice visual to show time, or whether it was all the timelines and just kind of having fun with that. I don't know, but I do know that Andy shows up holding NATO in his arms, and all of a sudden the man can speak like we've never heard him talk before.
He's had a revelation,
and
that changes you. It's changed. When you have a cosmic revelation like that, that's going to change you. He's down to business.
It's almost like if you were clued into the true nature of our planet, the true nature of our universe.
Right.
You kind of would act differently, don't you think?
Right. Like Albert said, the absurd mysteries of the forces of existence. Part of that was just revealed to Andy.
Let me pause there real quick. You mentioned Albert. Thank you, because it made me remember this. When Gordon Cole was telling him about right before his dream, he was saying that he called Twin Peaks Sheriff Station and found out about the two Coopers.
Mm-hmm.
He does not specify Frank Truman. He just says Sheriff Truman, because he didn't know that Harry wasn't there, right?
Right.
When he says Sheriff Truman and they cut to Tammy and Albert, I was really hoping Albert would have said something like, oh, how is Harry? Because the last time we saw Albert in the original series, he walks into a room and says, "Looking good, Harry," and they give each other like big hug.
Yeah, and he had that beautiful speech about "I love you, Sheriff Truman."
Well, that was earlier.
Yeah,
I'm just
still,
saying.
I mean, it wasn't like he still has animosity towards Harry. You know, they reconciled all that. So
right. So I was looking for a little moment there, and I didn't get it. So, but I thought, well, since they're having to differentiate between Harry and Frank, I thought maybe Albert would have to have that moment as well. But
yeah.
All right. Let's move on here. Well, yeah, like I said, Andy's like super smart now, but no one else remembers anything. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even remember finding NATO in the woods.
Right. Yeah.
All of a sudden, Andy's carrying her like
and it's kind of like goes with all those stories of UFOs and stuff where people that get abducted or whatever, and then they have it's like a time lapse, you know. It's almost like that syndrome.
Then we cut to Lucy and Andy in a jail cell with Naito. And this to me is like, look, you can have all the purple oceans, you can have all the backwards talking little men and giants and dreams and vision. To me, this is surrealism. All right. They got this no-eyed Asian woman in this jail cell. Meanwhile, you have Deputy Chad in another jail cell and Zombie. Who is this guy in the other cell? Who is?
You know what I was wondering though? Wonder if that's Billy.
It very well might be.
Been missing 2 days. He's bleeding from the mouth and stuff. Remember that? He ran into the fence. The girls in the roadhouse at the end are talking about that. Maybe that's him. Maybe that's why he's missing. He's in jail.
But no, because I mean, if it is, fine. But if you're missing, I'm saying if you're in jail, somebody would know. I mean,
but he seems way out of it. So maybe he, wasn't coherent enough to have his phone call.
Well, not just that, but
sitting there.
But you would think that the sheriff's station would contact somebody.
You would think, yeah.
But I mean, you're probably right. But I was thinking, okay, we got Naito, we got Chad, and we got Zombie over here.
Yeah.
Which, okay, this, like I said, true surrealism, because we get that it sounded like talking animals back and forth.
It reminded me of Bobby and Mike. It's kind of a callback to that scene.
Let me see.
Put the same thing.
Let me see where it says. Does it say it? Barking in pilot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike, Cameron.
Well, yeah, I mean that is from the pilot episode, but it went on for so long. Listen, if I was Chad, I would be rethinking my morality right now. Not only because I'm in jail, but because I'm now stuck in having to listen to this all night long.
I'd be begging for earplugs. That pillow's not going to cut it.
I'll talk. I'll turn in red. I'll turn in Richard Horn.
Yeah, I just want to change my life. Be like Anthony.
Yeah, I love Chad. He was just like, oh. Yeah, but they were just like, it was like, oh my goodness. So we got Zombie, we got Naito. Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And it only gets weirder from here.
That's what we love about this show.
Okay, so we go to the Great Northern, and we meet up with James and his friend Freddie, who has apparently become a superhero with this green glove.
Got the big Hulk fist.
Yeah. So a while ago, the guy who likes to remain anonymous, he contacted me, and he says that to him, the woodsmen remind him of nutcrackers, because there used to be, I guess, woodsman nutcrackers you could buy, right? Because the way they crush the skulls of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wrote me tonight saying, yeah, and Freddie, what is he doing? He's crushing walnuts.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, don't tell me those woodsmen aren't nutcrackers. Freddie with his green glove is going to start crushing the heads of woodsmen before this end of the series.
Yeah. Crushing their skulls like a walnut. Yeah.
Because he says if he takes off that glove, his hand will start bleeding.
Yeah.
And James makes the mistake of telling him, it's my birthday. Why don't you tell me how you got that glove?
Yeah. And boy, he got an earful with that story.
He definitely did. So he says that Freddie says that he was in London and a vortex opened up and he met the fireman.
Yeah. In a beautiful Cockney accent, too. That was a pleasure to listen to him tell the tale.
So how do you feel about a random character like Freddy? I mean, the giant or fireman, he's making himself available to a whole lot of people.
Well, why me? Why not me? Right?
Well, no, I know that, but I'm just saying for a being that lives on supposedly on another planet or another plane of existence, the giant's really, poking around in a lot of people's lives.
Well, the fact that he sent him to Twin Peaks, there's obviously a major reason why.
Yeah, he's going to start crushing skulls.
Yeah, he may need to deal the fatal blow to the doppelganger, maybe.
Wow. I don't know if I like that or if that'd be anticlimactic, but if this character,
it would take a supernatural force to kill the doppelganger, and maybe the way Doppelkoop killed the dude in the arm wrestling match foreshadows the green fist he's going to get.
Are we going to get two fists coming together like Rocky IV?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Maybe they are going to play Eye of the Tiger in the series. We also find out that James has not learned his ways from Evelyn Marsh. Renee, the young girl at the Roadhouse, is married.
Woman.
So that is.
Hey, did she have a blue rose? Because everybody remarked on her 7663 tattoo.
Yeah.
But rewatching it tonight, she held up the other hand, and it looked like she had a blue rose. Did you notice that at all?
No, I didn't, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there.
Yeah, check it out next time you rewatch and see if you see that. Because I thought I saw it, but I'm not certain.
We may live inside a dream, Hal, but sometimes us Twin Peaks fans see what we want to see. It's
right. Right.
It might be there. It very well might be there.
Like some people see Garmin Bozia on Sarah Palmer's table. I saw mac and cheese.
No,
I saw mac and cheese, man.
Okay, and after tonight, what do you think it is?
I still say mac and cheese. It looked like noodles with holes in them. I didn't see cream corn.
Anyway,
but I'd be happy to be wrong.
So the fireman tells Freddy, "You need to go to Twin Peaks, find your destiny," and there's a plane ticket waiting for him. I wish I could just go to the airport and find a plane ticket waiting for me to go to Twin Peaks.
No doubt, transatlantic plane ticket too.
Those don't come cheap, Hal.
I know it.
Why didn't the giant, like when he was up in the White Lodge, right? Why didn't the giant just send him down a vortex in Twin Peaks so he didn't have to fly that whole way?
Why didn't he just transport him? Yeah. Maybe it's just part of his personal odyssey. Maybe it has to be this way.
I know. I'm just saying.
The giant can't interfere too much. Or else why not just interfere?
But how did okay. I say this jokingly, but seriously, how's the White Lodge like purchasing airline tickets? Come on. Wouldn't it just be easier to be like, so that other hole over here, go that way?
Yeah, you need to go to the left vortex and then right at the light at Sparkwood and 21.
So then James decides to check out the furnace, which made me laugh because we got in the last part we had the doppelganger arm wrestling Derek Mears, who played Jason in the Friday the 13th reboot. In this one, we have James talking to his friend Freddy, who then goes into the boiler room where Freddy was in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. James checking out the furnace, and we hear that high-pitched sound,
the same hum
that Ben and Beverly were listening to for 2 parts in a row.
Oh, wait, I forgot. During Freddy's story, as a major Beatles fan, I love the Beatles reference there. Did you catch that?
I didn't. What was it?
Because he woke up and he fell out of bed and dragged a comb across his head.
Okay.
He's going, oh, wait, I was just kidding about that part. I love that.
I wonder if they had to pay royalty rights for that. So.
I wonder, yeah.
Yeah, so it sounded like that sound, was it coming behind that door?
It seemed to be coming from,
or all around.
Yeah.
But we were focusing on a closed door.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Corman always said that the scariest image you could ever show somebody is somebody walking towards a closed door.
Yes.
Whatever happened after the door was open, anticlimactic to walking up to a closed door.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so then we go to the Elks Point bar. No location given. We don't know if it's in around Twin Peaks or on the outskirts. It seems like, is this Wally's? What Wally's became?
Yeah. And is like their one sign maker in Twin Peaks, because it's like the neon sign was similar to the Bang Bang, sign on the Roadhouse.
Right. So Sarah Palmer walks into the bar and she's quickly accosted by white trash trucker with the words "truck you"
truck you
on his shirt. And again, this is a staple of this new series, that people they can't just be like a little bit gray and then get and something bad happening. You got to be hardcore, right?
Yeah,
like you can't.
Yeah, if you're a creep, you're a super creep.
Right. You can't just get out of a car and try to steal Dougie's car and then explode. You have to be throwing rocks at kids and then explode. Exactly. Right. So this guy can't just be like, so who are you? And this and that. And then Sarah goes crazy on him. No, he has to like go over the top, like Richard Horn style, over the top.
Dropping the C word.
Many times. And I don't know if you heard it or not, or maybe this is just something that, we all see what we want to see sometimes. I thought I heard some sounds before the trucker came over, when Sarah was kind of looking around. I heard some of the sounds that the wildlife video were giving out.
Oh yeah.
In part 2.
The animals tearing each other apart.
Right. I heard some of those sound effects in there. It just muffled into with the other sounds.
I also like the fact that we now know why Sarah drinks Bloody Marys.
Right.
Makes thematic sense.
Okay. Like her daughter, removes the face.
Yeah.
Right. This is no John Travolta. This is no John Travolta Nicolas Cage movie here. All right. This is. I mean,
yeah.
She her face off. But unlike Laura with the white, she has like this weird like black hand in there.
Yes.
So is this a new thing Sarah is able to do, or do you think she's always had this ability and we just didn't know about it?
Which would lend credence to the theory that the little girl with the frog moth might be Sarah.
It might be. But a lot of people would argue, timelines don't match up, or she's the wrong ethnicity, and this. Well, who knows? It just could be a casting thing that Lynch did too.
Exactly.
So we don't know. But she takes her face off and then rips the trucker's throat out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have been speculating about who was in Sarah's kitchen, or what's going to happen. Was Sarah Palmer with this or that? I don't think anybody is expecting her to rip her face off and eat a trucker.
We did not see that coming.
Right. So again, is this a moment that is going to keep going with a payoff somehow? Or is this something in there that is basically in there just to throw us as viewers again and be like, what? And that's it. Do you think there's going to be a continuation of why she is like that, or do you think this was just a moment to make us go, hey, like Leland, like mother like father, she's a killer now, but much like her daughter, because Laura did tell Donna that her mom had the gift for visions.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she was always someone who had the visions like that, and we just didn't know.
It's the removing of the face. Obviously, it's not just a phenomenon of the lodge, because we saw Laura do that in the lodge, but now we've seen Sarah do that in the outside world. So it seems to have something more, a physical reason for that, like they've been inhabited by spirits or something. And it's like the polar opposite of Laura. Like Laura, I'm dead yet I live. She has the white light. Maybe Sarah is like living but dead inside because of the trauma on the outside world.
Right. It's fascinating in the concept.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really interested about where are they going to take this, because they've now made Sarah Palmer a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you take that character? Or, I mean, are we gonna just end this whole series with Leland, Sarah, and Laura dead and being a family in the Black Lodge?
That could be. It's the new Palmer house.
The waiting room becomes their dining room table. Wash your hands. I already did, Dad.
You look up, and instead of seeing the white portal of the White Lodge, you just see this black ceiling fan.
And then Cooper walks in, coffee.
All
right. I did like that line though, when the bartender comes over and he goes, "What the hell?" nice moment, nice callback there.
To get another "what the hell,"
yeah. I think a lot of people say that when they watch this show.
Do you think there's any other face removers that we haven't seen?
Anything's possible now.
Yeah.
Anyone with the gift could. I mean, Dougie could do it for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
Wash your face, Dougie. And he goes like this, and then he removes his face and puts it back on. Sort of like Last Starfighter. I did like when Sarah said, "Sure is a mystery, huh?" Like ha 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 ha. It's like that. It's like that silly line in Fire Walk with Me, which I love and kind of go roll my eyes at when she says, when Laura turns to Donna and goes, "Life is full of mysteries, Donna." Like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this movie, Fire Walk with Me, is not really a mystery. It's more of a character study, but all right.
But, in Lynch's world, life's the mystery. So it's all the big mystery.
Right. It's just, it's funny how, like that line they say, when Cooper says in the second series when they're in an owl cave about, "I don't know where we're going, but it's definitely going to be a place both wonderful and strange." And at the time when that series came out, I mean, I liked the line,
mm-hmm.
but it definitely is like on the nose, right? I mean, it is. It's on the nose. But I've always enjoyed the line, and it's just
mm-hmm.
funny how when this new series came out that became the big mantra that people were saying.
Yeah.
It's so funny. What was a line that people kind of rolled their eyes at back in 1991
mm-hmm.
became almost that, and "It Is Happening Again" became the poster taglines.
Right. It's a way of summarizing it in a minimalist way, which is perfectly Lynch. It is a place both wonderful and strange.
But he had nothing to do with that line, I don't think.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Although that scene.
But didn't he oversee a lot of the scripts, even though he was, outside of it somewhat? I'm sure they passed those scripts in front of him.
What I was going to say is that scene in Owl Cave is the episode where Gordon Cole comes back and reissues Cooper his suit and pistol.
Right, so he was around for that, and I'm sure there was rewrites and things.
Oh yeah,
after he got his eyes.
I'm just saying that David Lynch isn't credited as being the writer of that episode. That's all.
Fair enough.
All right, so then we go to the Roadhouse, and what a surprise! 2 girls in a booth.
At least they seem to be more tied into the narrative this time.
Right, and the music definitely deepens when the young woman, and I didn't catch their names.
Lissy?
No, that's the band.
Oh, I thought that's who you were talking about.
No, I'm talking about the 2 girls. And right. and she mentions her mom, Tina.
Yes.
And the music gets all sinister.
Because we thought she was going to say Audrey. Because remember, she's like, "Billy's been hanging around with my mom." And remember, Audrey said, "I'm banging Billy." And so I thought she was going to say Audrey, and then she goes, "Tina."
And Tina is the one that Charlie's with, right?
Exactly. So there's something there with I'm not who I think I am or something. So it's like the Audrey-Tina connection. There's something there.
Yeah, we haven't had a Linda connection yet.
Right.
We've gotten only one Linda mentioned in that scene with Harry Dean Stanton in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they talk about Billy, and she mentions Tina. And obviously Billy, like I said, the mouth, the nose, the blood. What I caught in this scene is she says, "I don't remember about my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And all I could think about, I don't know, sometimes things just pop in my head, and this probably has nothing to do with it, but all I could think about was that line in Fire Walk with Me, when Chester says to Sam Stanley, "What's missing in that sentence?" The uncle.
Yeah, you're right.
And I was like,
she's
okay,
my father. What was it? My father's sister's girl.
Yeah, she's my mother's sister's girl.
My mother's sister's girl. Yeah.
But that's all I could think about was like, what? Okay, we have this uncle is missing. What's missing? The uncle. That just popped in my. And we've been having a lot of Fire Walk with Me flashbacks in this episode, so that's what I recalled. But yeah, I agree. This scene in the Roadhouse, I liked it only because it did seem to tie into the overall storyline. It didn't just seem like an isolated thing.
And that gives you hope for all of these vignettes in the Roadhouse tying in the end.
I agree. So there it is. I mean, that is part 14.
Beautiful.
I thought it was a great episode. Episode. And you can see what I meant in our last video when you asked me, roundabout things regarding it. And I said, you can see how people watching this in Germany did not realize they had skipped part 13.
Sure, because if you showed them out of sequence, you would still have the same information. There really weren't any spoilers.
Yeah, it's not like the original series where if you missed one episode back in the day, it felt impossible that you could catch up. Whereas this series, if you miss one, the next one, even though, yes, you've lost a lot of critical information, the next part, it really doesn't tie in that much.
Right. And especially if they're playing with the timelines kind of going all over the place, it really doesn't matter. It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Right. So we are like the dreamer. Is this just Lynch having fun with the idea of, living and dreams and reality and surrealism and that type of thing? That has always been a play in Twin Peaks. Or are you getting maybe a little bit nervous that this whole thing is happening inside someone's head?
I don't think it's someone's specific head, but I can see where, it's we live inside a dream. It's all a dream. It's all relative. All of these layers of reality. It's all just relative. It's like what's reality? It's all reality. It's different realities.
Right. And that's what I hope it is. I hope it doesn't end like, spoilers, Emilio Estevez's movie Wisdom, where after 2 hours we find out the whole movie was a dream and ruins the whole experience.
Right. Because who would they choose to be the dreamer? Although they did say, in Gordon's dream, who's the dreamer? So who is the dreamer?
Right.
Maybe that's the ultimate mystery. Who's the dreamer?
It's probably Annie Blackburn in the hospital.
That's how Annie is.
And I will actually, how's Annie? the last shot of this series. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I loved it. I thought it was great. It was incredibly hard to hold into all this information over the past week because unlike a lot of other parts, this was like revelation after revelation after revelation throughout the whole thing. And this gives me the confidence that this is the way it's going to be for the next 4 episodes.
I think so too. Yeah.
I mean, sure, there's going to be probably little meandering little things here with Dougie here and there, but I can't see them, spending 25 minutes. Who knows? Maybe they can with Dougie tying his shoes or something like that. I think we're gonna be moving from this point forward.
That's right.
So there's been also a lot of talk about whether or not there's going to be a season 4 or not. And right now, I don't think there's going to be. I hope there is at some point, but right now I don't think there's going to be because this series was brought to light in 2014, right?
Right.
And they had been working for a while on it, or at least writing it. And then it took 3 years to make it and release it, and now it's 2017. I can't imagine Frost and Lynch would write another 18 hours and have it premiere next year.
Yeah, I don't think at least I don't think they would, start from scratch. They could have, as they wrote this giant piece, have kind of a Bible, which would be, things that could shoot off from this if we went on. And it could be instead of another 18-hour, magnum opus, it could be a 2-hour movie or a 3-hour movie, You know, it could be a Twin Peaks special once every month, once every year.
And that would be fantastic.
It would be.
I don't think you have to go 18 hours every time. I would be happy with, you know, like you said, 2 to 6 hours. I think if, you know, do the British type of series where you do, you know, 3 Sherlocks and then you're out.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that. I'd take 3 hours of Twin Peaks a year.
Yeah. I mean, then you could do the, that fabled Agent Cooper mystery show that Mark Frost wanted to do, where there'd be like standalone 2-hour Agent Cooper TV movies.
Right. Or you could do the, you know, flashbacks to the 50s, or flashbacks to, you know, Leland at Pearl Lakes. You could do, you know, like with Star Wars, here's a Star Wars tale, you know, from
I don't want to see
else.
I don't want to see a Twin Peaks story.
You know? Well, no, I mean, they wouldn't do anything nearly as cheesed out as that, but, you know, that fits Star Wars. It doesn't fit Twin Peaks, but same concept, you know.
Right. And it would be a wonderful way for Showtime to keep its subscribers. Yes.
Or at least they know, you know, when they needed a boost in the quarter, like they announce it and we'll all subscribe during that quarter, you know.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I'm really scared to see the headlines after Twin Peaks ends, when it says Showtime stock crashes because everybody, you know, departs that website en masse. Yeah, but I mean, I would, if someone said to me, or it got announced tomorrow, hey, there's going to be another season in a year and a half or 2 years, or we're going to do these standalone little movies, or we're going to do, you know, a 6-hour little mini thing, sign me up. I'm all for it.
I would rejoice.
Yeah, and because I do agree
as long as the world doesn't blow up.
Yeah, right. Well, and I do agree with some people that go, you know, maybe not everything's going to be resolved, because maybe they know there could be possibilities of doing something else later down the line. And if that's true, great. But, you know, Nevins and Lynch have both said that they're not even going to discuss anything until after this whole show is over. So that says to me that this has to wrap up satisfactorily in case there's nothing else. Now, there's going to be maybe little things here and there that they can explore other ways. You know, and that's great.
Tales of the Woodsman.
That'd be a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but the Mark Frost book that's coming out in October, The Final Dossier.
On Halloween, October 31st is the release date.
Which, by the way, was the final shooting date of Fire Walk With Me.
And also Frank Silva and Michael J. Anderson's birthday.
Correct. But I want to let you know that right now it is $13 on Amazon. I
already pre-ordered it, so I got the pre-order price guarantee.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying the Secret History of Twin Peaks was going for like $20-25 when it first came out. This is at $13 right now. So if you haven't ordered it, now's the time to get on it.
Grab it, because it may be the last thing we get. So,
and if you don't have Amazon Prime and you need to get, you know, $25 worth to get free shipping, you can just throw in a Pop Funko. There you go.
There you go. Perfect.
All right, Hal, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's always
my pleasure, Cameron. Yeah.
It's so fantastic.
Just in case we see Chantel next week, gotta have my Cheetos ready.
Yeah, but you gotta have Wendy's with you too.
I know. I was gonna say, I get a triple bypass cheeseburger.
Exactly. So I'll wait for Hal to wrap up the.
Stop.
I was about to say chips, but Cheetos. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedule to watch these videos. Again, make sure to like these videos and share them. And if you haven't already subscribed to the main channel, please do. You know, hopefully we can hit 3,000 before the end of this series. So you guys take it easy, and we will see you next time. Take care.